Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be in the world. I would like to thank you for stopping by Healing Inner Child Wound Conversations with Z. This is a late night message. I've been up for a while, and well, no, I take that back. It's been an hour. Yeah. So, this is a late night message. I was supposed to do it yesterday. It's now the next day after midnight, almost 1 o'clock. And I said I was going to do one concerning the new moon because I could feel it. But after that last message, I went to sleep. I needed to rest. So now I'm up. I don't know what message is going to come out. Um, I've already set the intention. I have a couple of tarot decks out that I will use. But I'm going to pull some other cards out first. If you come into this space, you're protected. I've already set that up already. So don't feel like you're not protected because they've been on some stuff. I didn't have a crazy dream last night. I think the powers that be were like, oh, she's on to us, so they didn't send no attacks. You're being told to imagine. Use your imagination is where you create. That's a childlike energy. And it's interesting because I see this little shape there, and that could be us. And that's the divine there. What I like about this deck is that every card has the divine on it. There is a face somewhere in the deck. And when I first got the deck, I went through and I found all the faces. Oh, wow, there are other faces here too. I see them now. A lot of faces. It's an amazing card. Once you begin to tap into it, and that's them putting their rays down on you. I just want one card though. One. Is that it? That's two. That's more than one. Nope. They're trying to trick me. I don't know how long I'm going to be up. Loyal heart. It has something to do with loyalty. After there being chaos and conflict. So there's been some disruption of some sort. It's a 33. And this is a 35. So it's an 8. An 8 and a 6. Working. Victory. Some type of chaos. This is Empress and Empress and High Priest energy. It's a masculine and a feminine energy. So there are people looking at each. It's a masculine and a feminine energy looking at one another. Let's see what energy was used. Look at that. I'm not going to say what card fell out. When I was shuffling the tarot card, a card popped out. And when I looked at it, I realized the deck was in reverse. And I was like, oh. And so, under the moon cycle, there's been some type of glamour, magic used. And that's probably why that conflict card is there. Just want one. Persuasion. You don't have to be persuaded to do anything. But there's this portal here. When you're doing right, when you're following your own guidance, your own direction, you don't have to be persuaded. Something wrong with her face. Okay, that one is blacked out and that one's okay. And then we got this eye here. So, I'm not going to say anything yet. I see butterfly wings, so there's some transformation going on. And I see these dark clouds in the back. And then I see this spiral. And so that lets me know that there has been some type of magic done. When I see that spiral, it reminds me of the Twilight Zone. Let's see. What are we healing? Because there's something that needs to be healed. So we're still working on traumatic cleansing, traumatic experiences. A lot of you are layering your foundations on the earthly plane. And a lot of you are in cocoon stage. And that might be why this chaos and conflict is here too. You're layering foundation, so it's a lot of transformation, a lot going on, but you have this energy here that may be trying to move the bar to their advantage. Resilience. Know that you are resilient regardless of the burden that's been placed on you. This isn't your burden. This is other people, other entities' burden. But you're very resilient. This is a high priestess. This has something to do with magic. It's a 21. Which would turn her into an empress, which is a 3. Just want one. Don't let your past hold you back. South Node. They're trying to push you back into yourself. You're layering your foundations, but there's an energy. This magic here is trying to push you back. into your south. They don't want you going north. Balance, spirituality, and practicality. Full moon in Pisces. But I think it was Scorpio. But they're trying to tamper with your emotions because loyal heart is here. You're trying, somebody's trying to persuade you. I don't like that card. Okay, so the dynamic card is on the bottom, and I'll show it to you. And it says the frequency of dynamics supports our ability to harmonize between layers and aspects of different origin and frequency. It helps us to put together a reality that is made up of many different elements, both familiar and completely new, with ease, grace, and great joy. They don't want you doing that. And I see a card sticking out, and I'm going to take it. I don't know what the card is. Grace. The frequency of grace supports our smooth adaptation to an anticipation of life's currents and changes as we evolve toward a higher version of ourselves on this earthly plane, bridging the divine with the human essence. So that's why this card is here. They don't want you to do that. They don't want you bridging, combining, adapting. They want you to stay. There's this old paradigm that wants you to stay trapped. And if I hadn't used that other deck earlier, I will pull it out now. I'm not going to pull it out now. But what I will pull out is this one. I got to get it. And I'm not going to shuffle. I'm just going to activate it and keep going. The law of rhythm. All things come in cycles and stages of development. There is a perfect natural rhythm of everything. What goes up must also come down. Think of waves in the ocean. I am aware when things go backward movement. I remind myself I am one with the universal mind and I can shift my vibration. So this card right here, the wave is going backwards. They're trying to keep you back and south instead of going forward to your north. And they're doing that through this magic. And you could be around people who are in this energy. And they look at that because it just spun when I looked at it. This thing is spiraling. And if you're not careful, you'll get pulled into that reality. That's what this is. But you're learning. You're learning because you're being told don't let your past hold you back, because this is your past. This is something about a loyal heart was manipulated in the past. And so now you've learned a lesson with this. But they're still trying. So now you're layering your foundations and you know not to let your past hold you back. You need to give grace to these situations, people, places, or things, and understand the law of rhythm. You need to understand this because, oh, look at that. Acceptance is on the bottom. It says, if I am not accepting what has happened, I will lose more energy than if I accept. If I do not accept, I will go through what ifs and whys. I will be living in the past. And this is what this wants you to do. Go back to South Node. Being in the past will cause me to lose energy. And that's what they want. They want you to lose energy. Let me write that down. Lose energy. Where's the pen? Lose energy. They want you to lose energy. They don't want you layering these foundations. They don't want you layering they don't want you to get to the cocoon stage. They don't want you in that energy. That's the issue. Because if you get in the cocoon stage, they can try to mess with you in the cocoon, but when you're in that cocoon stage, you're protected. You know, when the butterfly goes into that chrysalis, you know, when they put the silk or whatever it is they're wrapped up in, they're protected in there. You're in the dark. You're in nothing. You're moving from one stage to another. You're in a portal. And it's interesting that you're in this portal because looking out of that portal looks like the good life. Looks like something really nice. It looks like you're going where you used to be, where you're meant to be. But there was this chaos here. That chaos could be was opening that portal. I don't know. But whatever it is, you're merging it. So um let's see what the tarot has to say. I was gonna pull Kipperish, but we'll see. Patience. Have patience. Whatever you're working towards is coming. Doesn't talk about what's coming forward here. I don't see anything here. All I see is a manipulation card. I don't see any other card that could dictate something. Can I have a card? There it is. This was the card that popped out. That's just too funny. This is the card that popped out, but the deck was in reverse. I had to turn. I looked at it. I said, "Oh," put it back, and I flipped the deck around. And you all just saw me cut the deck. So there's this Two of Pentacles, flexibility. That's the issue right there. You being flexible enough, knowing that you can change, that you don't have to stay in this rigid paradigm, because that's what this is about, keeping you in a rigid paradigm. And here's the Judgment card afterwards. Somebody's facing karma, but you're given the opportunity to go back into your North Node. You have the opportunity to lay your foundation now. This portal is being opened. In spite of this chaos and conflict, you're protected. You're protected because you're in the cocoon stage. Oh, look at that. Harmonies on the bottom. A lot of you are in this energy of inspection. Page of Sword. You're learning, you're asking questions, and that's going to help you with this. And that's going to help you merge the frequency as well. And probably by you doing that, you will close out the bad portal. I did ask for that to happen. I asked, what I specifically said is they'll be able to watch, but they can't come through. Queen of Swords. Yep. You're fairly laying your foundations. You're fairly getting what's deserving of you. And you're dealing with people fairly. You're giving people grace. Here's this abruption, tower moment. Don't let your past hold you back. You're having a tower moment. You're understanding that. You're understanding that whatever was done with that persuasion was holding you back. And because you're dealing with it, you're going to close out a cycle. But do it with grace. Don't do it in anger, animosity, because that's an energy that they like and they can latch on to that. You have to give them grace and you have to do it with love. They don't like love. They don't like it. They like the petty. They like the anger. I knew it. They wanted you to stay in regret. That's what that persuasion was about. You were in a perpetual cycle of low vibrational energy, and them were able to latch on. They like that. That's dessert. You were delicious, scrumptious, delicioso. You were yummy because you were in this chaos and conflict energy, and they were able to latch on to you. Let's see the last card before I clarify. Just need one more. Look at that. Slipping and sliding, ducking and hiding. This came out in another card earlier yesterday. Treachery. You've ended a cycle of treachery by persuasion. Because this is where you should have been. You should have been in 10 of Cups. Contentment. You should have been satisfied. You should have been deep in your emotions. Good ones. But they had you in 5. Remember I said anything 5 and under is low vibration? And they like that. 6 and up, they don't really care for it unless they can use it. They can use this. Mental magic. I don't know how you use this flexibility to your advantage because you were in chaos and conflict. So the ancestors must have been balancing you out on the earthly plane. Because I look at this and I always wonder, pentacle wise, how can a 2 be okay? It's because you've brought it, it's brought here down here. You were somebody up as above, so below. There was somebody helping you stay balanced up above. And they were trying to keep it fair. I'm going to pull some more, but I'm going to shuffle because one, two, three. I see this was major because you got judgment, the decadence, tower, and then the world. Something major happened. Has something to do with that treachery. There's a this Queen of Swords is either you or an ancestor. Look at that. Look at that. What is that? What card is that? Somebody mad. They're mad. They don't want you chill out. Out of all the cards to flip like that or do something weird, it's the layering foundations and the Queen of Swords. There's an energy. You need to be careful. There is an energy that doesn't like that. King of Cups is on the bottom. That was in the other reading too. You gotta master your emotions, and that's why this card is being tampered with, because your mind is the first thing that you use when you're creating, and this persuasion was able to do that and keep you in yourself. No, but something has happened where there's an abruption. Yep. I keep hearing this high pitched. It's my right ear. A lot of you are moving toward victory. What time is it? 1:20. Empress, Magic, Magician, and High Priestess. So a lot of you could be in that energy. A lot of you could be using your magic during this time of the night. Card just fell in my lap. Five of Wands. You faced a lot of rivalry, interference. But despite that, you kept your balance. Yeah, they don't like this. I'm yawning now. They wanted you very anxious, and there's going to be some because of that rivalry. They constantly nitpicked at you in different ways to keep you in this anxious, off balance energy. But it's a 9, so you're at the end of it. Look at that. And this Judgment, oh wow, the paranormal, normal. It's, you know, these are not humans. You're getting messages, or you will be getting messages to let you know that this is all a delusion, and that changes will be happening. You will be gaining access to your wheel of fortune through that portal, despite the chaos and conflict. Right now, you're in the cocoon stage. Mm. King of Pentacles. Whatever this is, that's what you're going to get. Queen of Swords. King of Wands. Leadership. Because you're using your thoughts in a fair way, leadership is coming to you. And reliability is coming to you. Page of Pentacles energy. What is this abruption? There it is. Empathy. The abruption of you staying in your self notice is that you're tapping into your emotions, and that's going to cause a big stop. It's going to be a because you're raising the vibration. You're still in your emotions, but you're offering it to yourself, and you're diving deep. But you need to practice this. Eight of Pentacles. You need to practice this. If you notice, there's really no pentacles out here. I see wands, cups, swords. It was only that one pentacle, and you were balancing that because you need to work. In order to get to 10, you got to work on it. All right, what is this world card? They act like there it is. Look at that. You end this cycle. You start offering yourself the emotional fulfillment. You get a new start. You get a new start, and you get to move away from this self-no energy. That's good news. Page. And I only see a King of Wands and a Queen of Swords. Well, I take that back. I see a king, queen, and a knight. And it's good because the king is wands, your magic. The queen is swords, your thought. And these cups, emotions, is a knight. You're bringing your emotions into this picture. And that's going to bring you more good news. Despite the treachery, look at that. It already fell out. Look at that. What you're going to find out is somebody was trying to keep you in a box. Look at that. Can't make it up. You're gonna find out. It's the Sun card. You're gonna find out that this is what was going on. I'm gonna do another pull, and then I'm gonna go into something else. I may pull Kipperish out. This wheel, the changes. Ten of Cups, 10, 10. Emotional fulfillment. The powers that be wanted it. They're greedy. Four of Pentacles. See, here we go with the Pentacles. Low vibration. The chaos and conflict. They wanted your emotions to be low because of greed. They wanted you in that mental conflict because of greed. They kept you in chaos and conflict because they were taking this. No, they were taking your Ten of Cups. Emotional fulfillment. They don't know how to get it. They don't know how to do it. They're not human. They're soulless beings. Let me say it that way. Okay. So the King of Wands and the Queen of Swords, this is definitely because the Queen of Swords is here. She's able to get that intellect. Sword, don't the sword energy, as much as people make jokes about them, they're very smart. They're different kind of people. I raised two of them, and I can say that my children's fathers are swords. There's going to be some clarity about that gift, and it's going to bring you four wands. You're going to be able to be in a happy home despite them trying to hang you. It's all about perception. You're not going to be stuck. You're going to have a different thought process. It's another card. I'll take them. Yeah, they wanted you, if you in this hanging, in this hangman energy, they wanted you thinking that you were done, that you had been backstabbed. That's 3 10s right there. But you know, your inner wisdom as the high priestess knows that you're using your magic. King of Swords, you're using your logic. She's fair. The Queen of Swords is fair, but the King of Swords is logic. And that's how you can look at the hangman. Okay. Knight of Cups. Nine of Swords. People are very, like I said, this is the energy they're in because you're offering yourself love. You're using your emotions to your advantage because this is what you want. You're moving toward this energy. Nine of Cups. Personal, emotional fulfillment. Ten of Cups is contentment in your family. Lineage. New start. That's what you want. You want emotional fulfillment. So during this new beginning, exploration, new cycle, you're using your Queen of Wands energy. So now we have a couple, or you balancing your energy, your ability to balance out your magic. You're determined to get your gift, your birthright. That could be why they're in this Eight of Swords energy. Okay, it fell out. A lot of people are not happy. They're in regret now. This is the energy they pushed on you. This is the energy you're in. Six of Pentacles. You're going to be able to give. And there is a relationship here, so it's going to be a give and take. And at the beginning, there was the loyal heart at the bottom. So some of us will get the relationship as well. Could be with the Emperor, or you could be the Emperor, or you're just taking control of your life. And you're balanced. That means whatever you're going to do is going to be in moderation. It won't be all or nothing. And you're going to be in this Queen of Pentacle energy. So we have 3 queens. So I said Empress. I said the Emperor. So there's an Empress energy out here. The only one that's missing is Cups. And I could be wrong. I see the Queen of Swords, Queen of Wands, Queen of Pentacles. I don't know what's on the bottom here. 6 of Cups. Memories. So, is it? I don't even say that. Well, it doesn't matter. A lot of you are dealing with things from the past. I'm going to pull a few cards of this, and then I'll pull the other deck that I did shuffle. Message. I'm going to take it because it opened me up right there. Somebody may have a health concern. And somebody could be dealing with a Jezebel. What is this about? There's something false. Oh, wow. Rich guy. Starseed. That's you. Us. Use your intuition. I see 3 masculines energies, and I see something false. Courthouse is on the bottom. I'm going to pull 2 more, and then I'll ask more questions. Death magic. That's a feminine. I see 2 more cards. Pathway. Ending. Something's ending. Divination. So you could be like me, use divination to look at your energies, do your own personal work on what you should deal with, focus on. Whatever this death magic is, it's going to end. I don't know what this rich guy is. I don't know what that's about. Hmm. Whatever it is, there's some type of document, information, statement, agreement. It's all false. And this person's holding this paper. This is the paper. They're holding the paper, and this is the paper. Message about a family. It's a false narrative, and it could be about a child. So people could have talked about a child. What is false? Mm. Lust. Blot. What is this about? Don't worry about it. You're unbothered. They want you concerned. It's about an ice king. Bliss. Oh, okay. I'll wait. Twin flame. Should have known. Anything else? Money. Rich guy. Abundance. Rich guy. There's a feminine here that's doing black death magic on this guy. Yeah, because he's concerned. Oh. So there is this guy, this could be about this masculine. This could be because if you're a masculine, this could be how that persuasion, that individual was doing some death magic using the church. Claiming their soulmate. Yep, using rituals and divination. So, whoever this false person is, that's what's going on. They were using stuff, they were using things to bother that Ice King. They wanted that money. They're trying to get through that portal. But there is a divine feminine here. She don't have nothing to do with this. The using your intuition, there's going to be somebody making a transition. And what could be ending is making the transition is to relate a relationship. It's a relationship. Somebody was doing magic on somebody. Jeez. On a nice guy. They were the guy with the money. It's a nice guy. Death magic. Somebody's awakening to the fact that this individual was doing death magic on them. Casting evil eyes. And that's how they would do it. Where's that Ice King? I want to see something. So what could possibly be happening is these are two different men. So how do I say this? He could be the bad one, he could be the good one, and I hate to say it like that because they always project us that way, but it could be he's the bad one and he's the good, or they could be the same, but I don't know if I want to get into that. But they're casting the evil eye toward that guy. It could be the same person. If this person was in if the Ice King was in this negative energy, they could be transitioning into this energy. That is possible. But self-love has to take place. I was wondering where that card had gone, because I knew what was on the bottom. So there's a pathway. And that could be a totally different story too. I'm not delving into that. This person's concerned because somebody's on their pathway. Like I said, and that's funny. Um, when I covered up the card, it said hell. So this person's concerned because they could be the person. It, like I said, it could be somebody could have switched out destiny. Yeah, something's ending because somebody is deciding to focus on themselves. Have faith. Somebody wants to move into high honor. So you have to this Ice King could be dealing with that, whatever's going on over there, and this person could be dealing with something over here. But there are going to be some endings. There's going to be some changes. There's going to be something going on because of that persuasion. There was some magic going on with that card, with that, because it was pulling you into a different reality, a reality of chaos and conflict. But a lot of you are learning how to jump out of that and tap into your emotions to move to a different portal. Now, oh wow, 53, almost an hour. Okay. We'll do this and then see what the angels have to say, and then I'll shut this down. Five of Swords. Yep. This angel, these are the people that was in that energy, and the angel is saying acquisition of wisdom. And that's interesting because it's under the sword energy, and swords are your mental thoughts. So that person was taking your wisdom, using it for themselves. Mm. Seven of Swords. This angel God nurturing and maintaining everything. And what it does is knowledge of good and evil. See, the regular Seven of Swords is just pure evil, treachery, because it's here. But this one gives you the knowledge of good and evil. It appeases divine anger. And it cures epilepsy. So if somebody has that kind of issue. So that trumps over this card. There was something going on. Nine of Cups. It's a healing card and it preserves your health and cures diseases. Mental impairment is a disease. And this month, the month of May, is for mental health. A lot of people, I didn't know that. Eight of Swords is on the bottom. That was in the other. No, was that here? Yep. Look at that. Seven and Eight of Swords. So, Eight of Swords. Somebody had control. Oh my God. Somebody had control of somebody's thoughts. I had a dream. I'm not going to go into it, but somebody's head popped off. And here this angel is holding his head. I have been asking questions about that. Wow. I don't have my glasses on. Truth and justice protects from enemies who would steal one's fortune. And your fortune is in your head. Because you have to think about your fortune first. As above, then it comes down to the earth. Oh my God. Wow. Okay. What else? Three of Pentacles. Mental force protects against sorrows and illness. Yep. Three of Swords. The quickly forgiving God. So there, whatever this heartbreak was, this is gonna trump that. Love and submission cures illness, influences paternal love, gives long life. Here's another sword energy. Seven of Swords. Three, that's Ten of Swords right there. King of Cups. God seeing everything intuitively, they can see everything. Restitution. Finds stolen objects and discovers the person responsible. That's why they do things to you, because they don't want you knowing who did what. Five of Pentacles. A lot of us were left in that energy. I think that came out. If it didn't come out this reading, it was out in the other reading. And what it does, it's the forbearing God. Patience reveals secrets of nature, spreads knowledge and industry. So it does that to offset you feeling lack. So if you were in lack, all of a sudden you find a job, or you find something happens where you're not in lack financially anymore. That's this energy here. So what do we have here? No major cards. That's okay. Seven of Swords. Queen of Pentacles and Queen of Swords. You're moving into, this is Empress energy. you're moving into higher thoughts, and on the earthly reign, it's gonna, whatever it is, it's gonna, I'm not going into that because it's pentacles and it's thoughts. You're going to be able to use your thoughts and bring pentacle down. Pentacle means anything you need on the earthly realm during your reign here on earth. Seven of Pentacles, you're investing in yourself. There's an investment. And that's where that emotional fulfillment is going to come from. You being able to do that. Justice. It's bringing you justice. You're going to be in your King of Wands energy, leadership. And it's happening quickly as the Knight of Swords is coming. Bringing messages. It's going to be fast. You're the star. And you're a leader. Hierophant. Leader. Wise individual. Okay. Three of Pentacles. You're going to collaborate and you're going to receive more information as the Page of Pentacles. And you're going to be protected from the magic. That's Nine of Wands. And you're going to have choices instead of illusions. That's the Seven of Cups. You're protected. There's that Five of Swords again, like I told you earlier. Three of Swords. Heartbreak. Let me pull this one first. You're going within. You're going within to deal with our heartbreak, and then you're going to have a new beginning. And all people can do is watch. But you're watching. This is the Four of Swords. People were trying to make you sick. You're learning that, but it's not going to affect you. Two of Cups. They wanted to affect your relationships with a soulmate. Relationship. That's this King of Cups. Hierophant. Nine of Swords. They wanted you in mental impairment, but you ended that. You're getting the messages about that. And there's that Five of Swords. They were trying to get you or us. I'm going to end this. This is over an hour. I don't think I've done an hour reading in a minute. But it's after midnight, so it is what it is. You want to take care. Thank you for stopping by Healing Inner Child Womb Conversations with Z. I hope this information, you can use this information to your best advantage to deal with what your situation is. So, I'll be back. You take care. Peace.